Serve terrorists, run to the St. Real. Sorry, not sorry, ain't it funny? Herb Lee on the track, license to ill. Advise opinions maybe, but facts ain't lies.
It's gold medal mentality. Watch the sunrise. One of one, them checking in. Silver sitting pretty. Still means second best in the
The
world.
Warehouse 15, and I am joined by my brothers in arms, Olympians, true Olympians, have done the dance at the highest level. Coach TJ, you're going to go first today. How are you, sir?
Good, sir. How are you? Just chilling, hanging out.
Well, I heard you had a momentous visit, and you visited with one of our illustrious, very well decorated team captains from the past, and one of our most famous, infamous women in our sport. But we'll get to that. Coach Moreno, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm just here. I'm like peeling like a lizard because I was doing some crazy yard work this week. Got off fried, first burnt of the season, but I'm doing good. I'm actually going out to Fresno, California tomorrow, kind of in your neck of woods, sort of to
Well,
Coach
be
Carter's
careful.
school.
Be careful out in Fresno, because Fresno is a well-known haven for migrant workers, and I don't want you to get caught up in that rush and end up on a plane in El Salvador with your.
I was waiting for it.
You know,
I was waiting
that's
for it. As soon as you said
I'm
yard
just-
work, I was
Let
waiting
me
for
be
it.
clear.
I was like,
He
there's
said
no
it-
way he's letting this
Hold
one go.
on. His neck is peeling. He said the word yard work, and if he
Jesus.
should just be happening to be walking around in common, talking to somebody, and oye, ¿qué pasó? And then next thing you know, he's on a plane in El Salvador with a naked back on some other guy's butt like a human
Hey,
centipede. So
True story. True story. I'm not even gonna
You
say
cannot
who.
follow a statement with true story.
Yeah,
last name Moreno don't help. Go ahead.
true story. I had somebody that said to my daughters, because my daughters are very artsy and building and stuff like that. They're like, "Oh yes, it's because your Mexican ancestor, that builds like
No.
layers of." And I was like,
No.
I swear to God, they said you're so good at your, creative and building, and it's the Mexican ancestry of your building of blocks and buildings. And I'm like, come on, man, that's crazy. Oh,
Nah.
I gotta say, shout out! I just got a text message from my man Michael from Michigan. He said to give a shout out to the Grandmaster of Disaster, the man himself, Grandmaster Herb Perez. So that's from
Oh, tell
Mike
him I said
Whitney.
hi. Tell him I
Mike
said
Whitney.
hi.
Yeah, he's
Tell
the
him
man.
I
He's the
said
man.
hi.
I'm working on a book
Well,
with him. We've been working on it for a long time, and
well,
TJ knows him very well.
Absolutely. Tell him I said what's up.
I found a video of your last trip to Fresno.
I haven't been there yet.
Okay. All right. Well, you must have been there. You moved pretty quickly. All right. But how is
How I Met Your Mother? I didn't How I Met Your Mother.
I'm telling you. So, so you're getting ready to go to Fresno, and what are you doing in Fresno?
Just a training camp with a gentleman, my coach Carter. He's got a pretty good program there, especially a
Oh
youth
yeah,
program. So yeah,
that's what I heard. Yeah.
He's been to a few of my my camps in up in the San Francisco area with James Howe, and he asked me to come out, and we found the date, and yeah, we'll be out there, so it'll be fun. So if you're in the area, you're welcome to come. If not, next time.
Next
But
time. Well, it's nice to see you all. Well, let's
I
get
wanna,
started today.
yeah,
What do we got?
I want to talk about this last President's Cup that just happened in Europe. President's Cup, Young, is like each continental area has a President's Cup, and it's a value of a G3, which is higher than the most value. And it's extra points, so you get a point cap of 40 points, and this can go above and beyond. So technically you could win 70 points. So anyway, it's the best of the best. A lot of Europeans, a lot of Asians, and it's a very good event. The Russians destroyed it. They were just like I talked about last week with the cadets. And I said there's only one country that is dominant, and that's Russia. The Russians were everywhere. They were amazing. I watched some of the big ones fight. It was really fun to watch. But what I want to talk about is the chest protectors, the Gen 3 chest protectors. I had personally sent to me, I think by 4 or 5 different people. Yeah, 4 or 5 different people, matches where a kick goes up and 5 points go up. I mean, it was just, and if you're not watching, and there's just sometimes there could be a melee of kicks and you didn't know, did 2 points score? I mean, it was chaos. And this is a brand new system. And if I'm not mistaken, TJ, this is for Worlds. I think they're using this for Worlds.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. That's
they're
the goal. That's the goal. That's the goal for
they're,
music for World
they're
Championship.
they're using it at the Grand Prix Challenge in Charlotte, and like, I mean, we got to buy socks. We got to buy Gen
Yeah.
3
That
socks.
I was thinking about that the other day after you mentioned it to me. Like, think about how it, like, again, we always go to like the underprivileged countries and everything. How disadvantaged are you if you don't even fight on the system? You're showing up to an event to fight on the system for the first time of something of the magnitude of a world championships, potentially, right? That in itself has to be an issue. I don't know how you fix it, but I don't think we can keep switching systems like that, and they just keep getting
That's
more and more expensive.
Yeah.
They keep
But
getting more and
listen,
more expensive.
they should fix their system and not change their system and force us to buy more things. Just fix Gen 2 or Gen 3. You have an upgrade, but your socks still
Yeah,
work or whatever. Look at, I mean, we always talk about how Europe and Asia are ahead of us. They've been fighting all year on Gen 3 and KPMP 2. And we're still, Grand Prix, I'm sorry, all of our nationals and domestic tournaments have been, Gen 2. The Rio Open next week in Rio de Janeiro is KPMP. It's not Gen 2 KPMP. It's the standard one. So it's just crazy how here we are trying to be advanced, and we're not even fighting on the most current systems right now.
yeah, it's impossible.
That's
It's
crazy.
impossible.
So
It's a tough situation,
yeah, I mean, between that
and
and
it'll probably get switched out last second too.
you
It'll probably get
think?
switched out or changed. I mean, we've seen it before, right? Remember last Olympic cycle? They said we wouldn't be able to switch from Dado to KPMP before the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
Remember that whole fight? That was a fight,
Oh yeah.
and then
That was a
that
big
just
fight.
went away. And what do we have at the Olympics? It
KPMP.
happened, you know.
You're
So I
right.
think we're headed down the same path, and I think it'll happen late. And we talk about all the speculation how bad it was at the World Championships in Mexico for
Yeah.
the Dado in front of the world. You know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of set the tone and kind of changed and everything. I think we've entered that early now, early,
I,
early, early.
on that note, I mean, just because it's not a secret, it's public knowledge, especially for a lot of high level coaches. We have a WT coaches chat room, and we exchange a lot of information on that chat on WhatsApp, and whether it's events or rules or whatever. And of course, this system was really getting blasted by the Europeans because they were competing on it, and they just saw a lot of discrepancy. And then, but I'm going to bring up my man. I have a I don't want to use the word good friend. I mean, I've known him for years, and we're definitely friendly. And I've known his family, and I watched all his boys grow up, and good friends with his brother as well. Competed against him twice. Gergely Salim was having a big problem with a lot of referee calls on deductions. To be honest with you, his son I think he's a 3-time European champion. He's a 2-time Olympian. I mean, class act kid. I've never seen him get deducted out in his life, in his career, and he got deducted out in this President's Cup by Kamjans in a really short period of time. And I mean, I know every call is debatable. I saw a couple that I'm like, but there was a couple in there that were called really, really quick. And if it's not anything for a referee to be that impactful in less than a minute and deduct somebody out.
How many did he get in a minute? I didn't see the
5?
match. How many did he get in a minute? 5. He had 0 and went to 5 in minute. 5 and 60.
I think it was less to be. I mean, I have to go back and watch. It was a short period of time, but it was like clinch, Kamjan, clinch, Kamjan, and it was just like
And he don't run from nobody. He fights everybody. So I can't even
Right.
imagine it being like him sprinting and falling and getting out of the way and all that stuff like that.
It was for holding. It was for like his foot got caught up one time and he fell down. And I mean, it was just a weird. I don't know.
I always find that Gamjan weird when you watch a kid or someone slip on the logo in the middle of the ring. Like no taekwondo contact where they kind of move and their foot comes up off the mat. And now we're down 1 point because we slipped. Like
Well,
I don't know. I think the warnings, like the stand ups, were important back then. You know.
Well, I think what's worse than that one is when you kick somebody in the head and they run you over, and
And
then
you fall.
you basically get thrown out. And they rarely call a push. They just give you a Kamjan for falling on the ground.
Or
So
the one where someone kicks to the person's head and you can watch them grab and pull the other person down and then they wave it off. Like that one that one drives me nuts. It's like, dude, you had to see this kid losing his balance and him pulling the other guy to the floor, on his way down. Like
good referees will call it, but I would say they're right 9 times. We can hear you. 9 times out of 10, it's not called. Right?
Do you hear me
9
more
times
on
out of
this
10.
one, or do you hear me more on this one?
I don't know. Can't tell.
You hear
I
me.
mean,
As long as you
if you
can
put
hear
your
me.
mouth
Sounds
closer to
okay.
one and the other, you might sound loud on one, but that's just logical, I guess.
Oh my God. I mean, listen, I mean, I only bring it up because, out of support for Gergely and his family, because I mean, they're talented, and he sent me some private clips that weren't actually on that chat, and I gotta agree with him. There was some really strange things that just weren't being called his way, and so again, I don't know if that's, if there's some dislike for him or his athlete or his family, but it was weird. I ain't gonna lie. I mean,
I
it was
was at
definitely.
yeah, I was at the American East Open this weekend, and I was informed that there's this new rule. Oh no. I was
Uh-oh.
informed that there's this new rule that basically, I guess WT's new thing is about the coaches interacting with the referees. Like basically, if I'm like saying, this is what happened. I was in the chair and I'm going like, that's got to be holding. For sure, that one's holding. Apparently, those are warnings to be told to sit down. Even though you're in your chair, you're not being ecstatic. But any words of interference of the match's calls, and that one kind of rubs me the wrong way because so I'm not allowed to talk about the match. I'm not allowed to voice my opinion of a call. Like I think we're going too far with the rest, and to the point where it's like, oh, if you do it again, you'll get a yellow card. That's what I was told this weekend is a new update as far as coaches interacting with the referees or the matches. Not even particularly talking to the referee or being like ecstatic or jumping out their chair, anything like that.
But I'm gonna say
Um,
something. I'm gonna go. Okay, I'm not sure if that is the case. If it is the case, we're gonna find out real fast at the Grand Prix Challenge. Okay. If it's not the
mhm.
case, then somebody's misinterpreting. I've also heard that they're not going to score a front hand punch anymore. Again, this certainly haven't been told to us. So if it's told to the referees and we are punching or we are talking and get a deduction, that's improper, number one. But number two, I'm going to go back to something. Listen, I'm watching I appreciate the American referees trying to do their best job, but they do us a disservice because I watch over there in Europe and I watch in Asia and I watch how the referees interact. They let people go. And I feel like our guys are just trying so hard to give deductions that they're interfering too hard to the match. Now I just talked,
Yeah.
I don't know where that lady was from in the Salim match, but generally speaking, I was watching those cadets. I was watching the Europeans Open, and they let those kids fight. They're grabbing, they're pushing, they're punching, they were going, and I'm watching the United States, and they're like, and they're so quick to show that they know a rule or they saw something.
Yeah,
It's the
that's what it
NFL.
feels like.
It's the NFL. Every single play, there's a holding. Every single play. It's do you
For
call it
sure.
or not based on did it affect the play? Do you understand what I'm saying? And I think this is what happened with our referees here. It's tough, tough calls.
Yeah, I see that a lot too, and I know we talk about it. I know there's no way to document it, but I feel like and they like to make calls that like say if you're up by 5 or 6 or something and the call doesn't affect the immediate part of the match, I feel like they give it more likely to show that like I'm being fair. This I'm being fair crap. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
that the call was warranted, not that it made sense. I watched some things happen where it's like the kid at the end of the match someone slides back twice and it's a Gamjan for not fighting, which is also not a Gamjan because you're allowed to go back twice. But anyways, then you watch
Mm.
the next round and someone slides out of the way once and now it's a Gamjan for not
Yeah.
fighting. And it's like you already give me 5 deductions. You give me up to 5 deductions to play with. You put a limit of how many penalties I can have. Now if I pitched a shutout at this point, I'm up 10-0 and there's 8 seconds left. Why can't I use those to my advantage now? Everybody does it, right? Every other sport does it. Why can't I slowly back up and not engage anymore? Why
I
do I have to go forward in those situations? You give
listen.
me 5 and now I
I
can't use them?
I've said that forever. I've said that forever. Like boxing, I can move around. Listen, I scored 10 points. It's your job to catch me. As long as I'm staying in the ring, I don't care if I'm freaking moving like this. Like, again, this is some people aesthetically trying to fix the matches that have never fought and don't understand. Even, like you said, let's say I go back, 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 boom. Like, that's a strategic move is to move back. Now someone says you can only do it twice. If not, you're not fighting. If I do it
It's
3 times,
crazy.
I'm out of the ring. It's a dumb rule. I don't care what anybody
Yeah.
says. It's what's it? Why can't I go like this? Why can't like if you kick me? Why can't I duck under? Why can't I turn and back around? Like it's a dangerous play. It's dangerous for me. If I get hit, then I'm dumb. It's not dangerous to you. It's just what's the difference
Yeah.
of moving or ducking or spinning out? If I can get away from you, I get away from you. Whoever makes those kind of rules, they've never fought and they don't understand what's happening in a real match. Real match. And I'll
I
debate that with
100% agree.
anybody. Bring them
Eh,
on.
I
That's
don't. Yeah, I don't think there's much of a debate when it comes to that. I know we always talk about like the past generations of Taekwondo and this generation of Taekwondo. I think that takes the personalization of someone's game and style out of it. You know, you watch boxing, you got different type of boxers. You have aggressive boxers, you have counter boxers, you have patient boxers, you have boxers with a lot of footstep, foot movement, and some people that want to encourage and fight. And that's what our sport has went away from. Like I watch is cut cancel, cut cancel, cut cancel. Try to find your foot because I can't really afford to be fancy because if they get closed now, I'm down by 3. There's so many things that went wrong. But you're 100% right. It's just taking. I don't see a reason why. Like I can't go 100% defensive. I can do defense for 20 seconds. You can't score on me. That has to be your fault.
that's your fault.
That can't be my fault. You can't even if I'm stationary on my spot and I'm just catching everything, stepping on everything. Like yes, obviously I'm avoiding, but I'm avoiding this guy's shots because I'm better than him. I
Yeah.
I got his timing. I know where to put my body. I know how close to be. I know how far to be. And we've taken that away because then they're going fight. Or even the rush when people are standing still and they're going fight. What
They
if I don't want to
definitely
fight right now?
the NFL yesterday did not ban the tush push because the Philadelphia Eagles, they all get in line and they all go down, and then the guy, the quarterback usually gets a yard or two, and they didn't ban it. And look, I don't like it. They kill my team with it. They kill everybody with it. But just because a team does something really well, better than anybody else, why should you ban that play?
Right. I was about to say it's not an illegal play.
It's
Like
not.
anyone can do it.
But they tried to figure out that you
Yeah.
can't put. They're going to make a rule for it, and again, it's like they're
Because
my
of
arch
because of
enemy
the
team.
fans though. Because of the fans. Because of how they want it to feel and look, oh it's too easy or he gets it every single time or it's cheating, it's not real football, blah
So if
blah blah
it,
blah
so
blah
if
blah
it
blah.
works every single time, everybody should do it. It doesn't work every time. Only certain teams could do it. Eagles do it better than everybody. People can't replicate it. So I'm just kind of giving the
Yeah.
analogy to the sport. Like I agree with you, TJ. If I could stand there, so what if I just stood there and just blocked everything? Am I avoid fighting? Technically, but
No.
I'm just stopping you.
Technically,
What
but
if I
no.
use? Yeah, but what if I decide to use footwork? I'm avoid fighting. Technically, no, but I'm just staying out of the way. I don't know. I mean,
Right. You
we'll
can
never
lose a.
win that.
You can lose a. I watch. I mean, again, now we're going down the rabbit hole here. But even like I said, I was at this American East Open thing this weekend, and I watched some matches of. I'm talking about the kid side. I watched some of these cadet and junior matches where it's like, oh, there's the person is getting killed for 3 rounds, like to the point of like they're crying, they're distraught, and like they have no idea what's going on, and then they win the match. I watched people get beat up for 3 straight rounds to the point they're in tears, and they win the match based on solely just the rules. Oh, instead of little girl, the person going out of bounds, they push them out of bounds. Like, no, this girl has been crying for the last 45 seconds. She's showing no resistance at all. So whatever I do is gonna look extra aggressive, right? But like I'm watching it, and like I mean, if you, I wish I had. If you could watch that match back without seeing the score, you're going, man, this is so one-sided. And the other little girl won, or other little girl won, and it's crazy to me. It's crazy.
Wow.
That's where our sport's gotten to. Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, that's where we're enabling by not allowing style, by not allowing people to fight in a clinch. The time that person starts to complain or cry, we've used all these deductions to our advantage.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
We cheer. This I think we messed up. And I think I said it before. We cheer when someone's falls. That's where our sport went wrong. We started cheering for deductions, like we're hoping for we're doing things to cause him to slip and like get a point off of it, canceling and getting their leg out of the way. I think that's where we went wrong. Like that's where
Yeah.
the game. That's where it changed everything. You didn't fight someone to get deductions, and if it did get to that point, you had to get 10 of them on that person. You had to put that person out of the ring. You had to be rougher than them, stronger than them. You had to show a difference. Now there's too many things that can happen. The referee can call holding when obviously I'm not fighting, but do I need to be fighting right now? The referee can call not fighting when should I be fighting right now? There's so many interpretations of this rule, and it takes us down a whole other path of why it becomes more complicated to call and to judge this game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, 100%. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, get back to the original thing as far as the chest protectors. They need to fix
Mm.
this Gen 3. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they can do it in time. And I know it's a political fight between Dado and KPMP. Right now, it seems like people like KPMP better. I mean, KPMP has its
Go
own
regular
problems
chess
with it.
guards, mess up the world.
What? Let's do it. I mean, I'm ready for it. That would be
You
something. But
imagine?
so anyway, I mean, let's let that go. Let's change subject. I gotta. It's so funny because I know we talked about someone just got purchased a book, and when I heard about that purchase of the book, I remembered something. Someone had told me something. I couldn't remember who. I figured out who that didn't speak. I heard you have a big fan, Mr. Perez, that someone didn't like your presence or your. I don't even know why it matters in that person's book, but about your position of national team captain during the
What?
92 Olympic Games.
I was national team captain from 1989 through 1992 historically. I was
Yeah.
captain after Jay Warwick retired and decided to pick the pockets of USA Taekwondo for many years. And I was captain, and you had been on teams that I was captain of, and there
Yeah.
was a reason I was captain. I was usually you choose a captain, and this isn't talking about me, but usually you choose a captain one of two ways. One, you choose a captain based on their success matrix, right? And how did they train? What did they do? How did they do? Right. Number two, how they lead a team. And then in some cases, rare cases, the organization will choose the captain. So in my situation, I was the last guy from the generation before me that kept fighting and training. And I had certain leadership qualities. And then to speak frankly, I was one of the most successful with you, one of the most successful athletes in the history of the sport. And I had
Well,
won a bunch. I beat Korea, won the World Cup, won the Pan Am Game gold medal. So you had an Olympic silver medal, and so between the two of us, I was a little bit older. And for the men's team captain, that was just a choice. Second, over the years in demonstrating my skill as a captain, when the '92 team came around, Dong Kun Park was the coach, and he knew me from my days back in New York. So, in addition to being senior to everyone on the team, and you and I were on the team together, Han Lee was on the team, and Han Lee didn't have a record. He was a good fighter, but he didn't have a record. And so between you and me, I was a little bit older, and so probably that's why I ended up men's team captain, and Han was co-captain. I think because to be honest, I think that was fair. We both were on the team. We both had spent a lot of years on a team together and teammates. We only had 4 men, so you couldn't make
honestly,
all of it.
I don't want to interrupt you. I was going to listen. I mean, I was on the team since '88 to '92, 5 years in a row. But and quite honestly, you were the captain. And when it got to '92, we had 4 people. We had you, Hanwha Young, James Villasan, and me. And I was just going to say just seniority based on your age and based on your longevity of the team. I mean, listen, I had a lot of wins at that point, but I think it's interesting because it was such a non-factor. It was such a like a
We didn't.
normal
We didn't.
thing.
We didn't. We didn't talk. I don't. I don't even think we talked about it. It
I
was.
know.
I think you're right. It was just like
Listen, we
no.
had 8 people
No.
on the team.
Yeah.
We had 8 people on the team in between yourself, Howon Young, Howon Lee,
Yeah.
and Lynette Love. 3 out of the 5 were like super older seniorities than us, and then
Yeah.
you had people like me, James Villasana, Terry Poindexter, and Diana Murray, and Danielle Laney,
So
Danielle Laney was
Diane Murray, nice girl, no seniority, no record.
no,
Terry Poindexter, no record, no seniority.
no,
Who was the other one?
James Villasana.
They, no, I mean women. Lynette
Oh,
Love,
it- yeah, Terry Poindexter, Lynette Love, um, Danielle Laney, and Diana Murray. Those
no
3.
record, no whatever. So that leaves in the history of the sport. There's never been because the men just went to more events. There were always the men. The overall captain was always a man, and that could have been a woman, I guess, in some case. But it was record based. So I don't know who said what was said.
I don't know. You guys are. Thank you. I do have a book. This is the book he's
That's the
talking
book.
about. It's
Oh, Lynette
this is
Love
the book.
said it. Okay, never mind.
Very,
So
very nice message.
in
Thank
general,
you. But you guys have ruined the book for me. It's like watching and hearing about a movie before you read it. Like I haven't even opened the book yet. Now I gotta I'm reading it and searching whatever what we're talking about right now. So thank you guys for that.
here's what I'll say. In general, I'm not an ankle biter. Do you know what an ankle biter is?
No,
It's a little different
no.
than a pillow biter, but an ankle biter is a someone who instead of running faster, they bite at the ankle of the person who's running in faster in front of them. And one of the things that's good about being in front of everyone else is the view is really nice. It's an open vista if you're riding a bike or you're running or whatever. And Coach Moreno always ran long distance way better than I did. Sprints, I was pretty
That
good.
always sucked.
So when ankle biters speak, for the most part, I don't speak. But when an ankle biter, i.e. Lynette Love, wants to speak, let's be clear. Lynette wasn't good at Taekwondo. Lynette wasn't a good leader. Lynette didn't practice, and Lynette didn't work hard. She didn't train during trainings. She was always injured. She didn't do Taekwondo. She did I am tall do. She was 6'8" or 7 foot Aguni Gugu, who was bigger than everyone else. And the men would take turns beating her to death in practices when given the opportunity, at which point she would go hide in a corner or cry to somebody about what was happening. So I don't have anything bad to say about Lynette. That's just factual. In other words, she wasn't good at Taekwondo. She barely won. And then when she faced people that could fight, which is what happened in Spain, she lost. And so
Well, listen,
as a leader,
I mean,
no, hold on a second. As a leader, just to speak, leadership comes from how you train and practice, period. When you go to the gym, you're the first guy in the gym. You're the last guy to leave the gym. And so Jay Warwick and Dae-Sung Lee were captains for a reason. They were in the gym, they trained, and there's nothing you can say bad about them. Juan Moreno, all of us, we trained before practice, after practice, and we had special practices. We trained as hard as anyone else. I can't say that about the women. I can't say that about Lynette Love, and I can't say that she would be a great leader. What I can say is she barely made it through the Olympic team trials. She didn't train, and she lost at the Olympics. So those are just facts. Now, if she wants to ankle bite, there's what, I tell my son when he's playing soccer. Guys like to talk on the field. Don't talk. If they keep talking, just take your finger and point to the scoreboard. So I'll point to the scoreboard and the record board. So I love Lynette. I'm sad that she would take, I don't know what's going on in her personal life. I know she has some challenges. I'm glad that she wrote a book, and I encourage people to read my book. And then after that, if you want to compare it, read her book. But I'm sad that she would do that because I have the utmost respect for my Olympic teammates, and I have the utmost respect for anyone who's ever made an Olympic team.
let me say this.
You spent more time with her.
Well, yeah, I spent time with her on national teams and stuff. And again, she's extremely accomplished. And, I had so much respect for her because she was way before me. I was a little kid when I made the team. And she was, she's had a great career and stuff. It's kind of sad, I think, that she, kind of took a shot at you. But I'm going to say something. I have another person that wrote a book with his family, and I was in that person's book, and they took a couple shots at me and stuff like that. And when I saw him, I'm like, hey, what was that? He's like, come on, we got to have a little pizzazz in there to kind of, kind of spice things up. Cause I'm like, that's not the way I remember things happen. And he's like, well, this is, so maybe she's trying
everybody. So maybe. You know what there's a science about this, right? And the science is how you create a memory. So we all recreate memories because we really don't, I study Buddhism now. You live in the present moment. You think there's a future, but in reality, there's only a present. You think there's a past. So when you think there's a past, you start to recollect the past. And the beauty of memory is that you start to create a past, and you remember it in a different way because it's a construct. If I told you to remember swimming, you would see yourself swimming. Now, the reality is you couldn't have seen yourself swimming. If you remember yourself swimming, all you would see is water splashing and you'd see the bottom of the pool. That's how people swim. In TJ's case, he'd be on the bottom of the pool because, historically, I'll leave it at that. But
he can't help himself. He can't.
He can't because I can go across the river.
I'm sure TJ had to be. That's why he joined the Army and not the Navy. But the on the other side of that, I don't remember seeing Lynette ever swim. So I'll let her recreate her memory because the best advice that I heard was a beautiful woman who was the woman in Scandal, and her name was Kerry Washington. And she said, I just try to be generous. And what does that mean? She said, well, if someone's having a tough day, or I can be that thing that causes them to feel better, I just absorb it. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter to me. It's like a cloud passing in the sky. And so I love Lynette. I hope she's enjoying success in the 25th iteration of a taekwondo school she's tried to open and close that have failed. I hope she's not working at Starbucks anymore, whatever else she was doing. And I hope she has a better life because she deserves it. She was a great athlete. She was tall. She never learned how to back kick or back hook kick, but she was tall. And she could kind of throw a push kick, which was in the days of dinosaurs, highly effective against the short, fat people she would fight from various South American countries. And her career ended as it should. She fought Corral from Spain, who was an amazing athlete, very talented. And in fairness to Spain, Corral should have won the first time they fought. She won the next time. I think the record book says what it says. So
Did they fight? Did they fight in 1988?
I don't know if they fought in '88, but I know they fought once before, and I watched the match. And I never talk about matches because we all win matches we should have lost, and we all lost matches we should have won. So, but her comments about the thing that I think was disturbing when I saw this clip was I don't remember any of us. We didn't have a right to jockey for a position to be captain. It was either de facto known or it was given to us by a coach. And so, like the
Yeah.
idea that that I didn't care about. You know what I cared about, and it showed. I cared about winning an Olympic gold medal, and that's what I focused
Sorry,
on.
I
But
didn't
I
mean I
wish,
didn't mean to go down a rabbit hole. I just thought it was funny because you had got a book and somebody had told me
listen,
so.
you
Yeah,
want to. We
flip the
could.
page.
This would be a great podcast. Who? I'll ask the question now. Who was the best woman fighter that we had? Name a couple of great women fighters that we've had on the U.S. team, and
And you see,
I'll
hold
tell
on.
you that I wouldn't start with Lynette. Who would you start with?
Oh, now I just real fast. I'll go back to so TJ. Just because now we're talking about captains, think in light of everything he just said about how a captain was made, who's the USA team captain?
You don't
Like,
have one. You don't have one.
he,
Yeah,
there's
you
definitely
don't have one
from a
because you don't have any
leadership.
leadership. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have
that's
That's
what
what I
me.
was about. I guess that was
You,
going to be my next question, kind of leading
yeah.
into it. Do you think that like whether it's on a development level on a national team? First of all, we don't have not. It's a whole nother story. But
yeah.
development level, a national team level, like is having a captain important? Do you need that
I
person in
had
your
this
room?
conversation last night. I had dinner with a coach from a very high level college who was in town to meet me and talk to my son. And we mentioned that. I said, because I talked about a team dynamic. Do you have it in soccer? Is there do you have like 11 guys to get on the field? I said, and do you have a captain? What does a captain do? How do they lead? Or what do you expect in it? And I'm going to say without a doubt that currently, first of all, you need it. A
You
captain.
do.
When I got on the team, Jay and Daesung were captains. They kept me in check. I didn't want to hang out with the team. They're like, we're going to a movie. I said, I'm not going to a movie. He's like, you're going to a movie. We do things as a team. We're going to dinner. I don't want to go to dinner. We're going to dinner. And I learned there's you, which is important. Then there's the team, which is more important. So there
It's
will be
crazy. I
things
think I
that,
never had to. I don't think we've ever. Like I think about just me, like being at peak and like being
yeah,
around all the great guys. Like when I first got there, Tony being there, Rufus being there, all the guys that are like the older guys before I got there. I don't think it ever was said out loud that this person's the captain, but you knew.
You
right.
You
knew.
knew. I don't know if it was a captain or that you knew who was the big dog in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You knew who set the standard. You knew who to mirror yourself after. If he wasn't tired, you couldn't be tired. If he didn't sit down, you didn't sit down. If he was yelling, you were yelling. Like that's inferred in like I guess the energy given. I guess my question is it worth if you have to go to the point of going assigning a team captain? Is that really the team captain? Do you have to go? If you have to go, you're the team captain. You're the guy, and you got to explain to them their roles and duties, or does that just like happen over like a span of time, or like on accident, or like without being said? Like,
It's tough when you don't have anybody that just stands out like what we just talked
Right.
about. But
Right.
but I also think you do. Listen, I'm a culture guy, so I think even on a cadet level, in a junior level, okay, you pick the oldest kid on the team, you pick the biggest kid on the team. I mean, other than if they're super shy or introverted, but you just say, listen, so and so is going to be the focal point when something comes up. We're going to talk to him. He's going to make sure that everybody knows. I think you got to start that. And maybe that person doesn't end up the captain next year or whatever. But if you're a good coach, you can find the alpha male in the room or the alpha female in the room and kind of start to build that process. So is it as prevalent as when we were fighting? Probably not. It's probably been diminishing. I know where you're going, TJ. We don't really have a national team, but we have you should have a focal point just to kind of relay information to people. I mean, I really think it's a part. Of course,
you need it because here's what happens. And Coach Moreno and I have, and we've been fortunate because Coach Moreno and I have had 3 different relationships. One, when he first made the team, I didn't make the team. I was on the sideline. And 2, we were athletes together. And I was only his senior. Then 3, I was team captain and he was athlete. 4, I was head of team and he was coach. And 5, I was administrator and he was coach. So we've each lived in each one of these. And I can tell you that I met with him when I was head of team and talked to him about what I wanted the culture to be. And then he went down to the athletes and disseminated the culture. And when I was captain, I talked directly to the team and he was there when it's no fun being captain. Everybody thinks it's some great thing. It's extra work and you want to focus on yourself. But now you got to watch some guy who decides he wants to bring a girl to his room. And by the way, he's rooming with the other team captain who doesn't handle it. So now as captain, I have to handle it. Now, I want to focus on what I'm doing. And the way it works is I'm on a bus. He's got a girl on the bus. I got Jay and Daysung looking at me, you're dead, because the president is looking at him and saying, you're dead. And that
Nobody's
goes
held
down.
that accountable anymore. That's the problem.
No.
Nobody's
We held.
The culture's been lost. There's no culture.
We held everybody. But here's where the demise came. The demise came when we had a group of people who were abusing the system because they could. And they were instructors who had no history in sport, and they were abusing the culture of senior, junior. And they were cheating and lying and stealing. So then all of a sudden, rightfully so, a lot of Americans became disillusioned with this senior, junior thing. Then we went the other direction too far.
Yeah,
we empowered people, and they're like, oh, I'm coming to practice, and if I want to wear a T-shirt, I'll wear a T-shirt. Or if I don't want to practice today, I'm going to go to SportsMed. And so we went fully in the other direction. And then we lost leadership, we lost mentorship, we lost esprit de corps, or what you guys call culture. And when you lose culture, TJ, you were in the Merchant Marines, right, or something like that. You were in the Army. And I know that in the Army, they have a culture. I don't think that you showed up and said, I don't think I'll wear my cap today. You guys okay with that? I don't think you saw your sergeant and said, yeah, hey, what's up, brother? How you doing? Right?
That's the tough part for me right there. But I think you got to blame I don't know. I blame nobody but the coaches. Like if one of my guys, if I hear from any of these coaches or people that one of my guys was like, what's up, man? Or called them by their first name, I'd be so thrown off and we'd have to deal with it. Like, it's like, it happens to me every now and then. And I'm just like, there's no way this person think this is okay. Like, it's just not normal. Like,
go to 1993. You asked any member of the 1993 World Championship team, was the next changeover of leadership of the Guard, which I coached that team and was team manager. Ask any of them if they didn't understand what the culture was. Garth Cooley, may he rest in peace, was made team captain because he was the most senior guy on the team. And Garth, from me, got the culture. Garth transmitted that culture down to David Kong, all the guys, and 3 of my guys were on that team who understood the culture. And they did stuff. And you want to know the only ones complaining? Wasn't the men's team. It was the women's team when they had to run the stairs of death or they had to hang on the wall. And then they tried to find somebody to complain. Why are we hanging on the wall? It's like, it's part of the culture, my friend. You don't have to love it. You don't have to like it. Part of the culture back when we were coming up, the junior member on the team did laundry. I did laundry and made noodles, made ramen at night. So if the senior wanted ramen, you got water, you made ramen. Coach Moreno.
Yeah, but someone tried to tell me to clean the room one time. I was like, you must be crazy, man. I'm going to bed, man. It didn't work on me.
Nobody.
let's change it.
All right. No, one last story. One last story. My brother James Villasano, who I love dearly. James was my roommate at the Olympics, and this guy, untold, I didn't expect anything from the guy. This was a guy I'd come when we were ready to. He'd make the beds, not his bed. He'd make our beds. He would clean up the room. He would pack our bags. Pack our bags. So I go to law school. I go on a trip with my friends to
Do you pack your bag? Like you put your stuff in your bag?
literally packed our bag. True story.
I'm with you.
I go to law school first year after Olympics. I go on a trip with a couple of my friends. We go down to Florida, Hollywood, Florida, to hang out for spring break. We get ready to go to the next place we're going. We're halfway there, and I go, "Where's my stuff?" He goes, what are you talking about?" I was so used to my juniors packing my stuff or bringing it, I totally left my stuff. Left my stuff
Never
in the
lived that
last
life.
hotel room. Yeah, I know. Where were you, brother? I needed you, TJ.
Yeah, right. Not
All right,
me.
let's move
You
on.
got
Let's
me in
move
there.
on.
Got them
Let's move on.
folding your underwear
But
and
anyway,
stuff. It's crazy.
Lynette, Miss Love, a lot of respect for you. You are my senior in Taekwondo, and I always, when I see you, smile, regardless of all the other stuff. I still love you. I forgive you for in your moment of finding a pencil or AI to draft your book that you decided you would take a shot at me. But as we say here, sorry, not sorry.
I want to talk about two things real fast. And you have something, TJ?
No, I'm listening. I'm having.
Why is he
I was thinking
blocking the
about like
Joker today? Oh, there it is. All right, I see the Joker.
I was thinking about the I mean, you got the Rio Open next week, but I think probably more importantly the Charlotte, the Grand Prix Challenge. What you thinking about that tournament? Number one, and then right after, I know we have 2 weeks before, but and then right after that we have a camp. Me and you are doing a camp where we're hosting. You're
Oh yeah,
hosting
yeah.
the camp. We've been able to
I'm
bring
super
together.
excited. Yeah.
I'm really. I mean, it's not huge, but I think we have 40 plus athletes. Different athletes from around the states, from Brazil, from Puerto Rico, from a couple of Caribbean islands, from Jamaica, from Haiti. So it's it's really shaping up to be a good program. I mean, obviously the focus is going to just be on interaction and movement, not necessarily to quote unquote learn or have somebody teach anybody, but just kind of the interacting and kind of me and you have built a schedule to give each coach a little time to give their flavor of a training. I mean, again, nothing specific, but of course, left out time for just regular matches. So, what do you feel about it? What are you thinking?
Oh,
Like I said,
I'm sorry. I just got a message. Can I share this with you guys?
Oh,
yeah,
that's
go.
important,
Yeah,
probably.
I just
countdown.
no. I just got. I don't know where it came from. It was like it's like a random viewer. But I'll hold on a
Oh, that's
second.
good. Can't wait to see it.
It's gonna be something
Hold on a
random.
second. Oh,
It's
I
not
don't.
gonna be real.
Who is this person?
It's not gonna be real.
I don't know. No. It's serious. Like I guess my number must be up somewhere.
Mm.
What do you?
Yeah, I could have made a better choice. What the fuck?
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry. I'm
I knew it.
fucking sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm super excited about the camp though. I think like you said, we have almost 40 people, and it's kind of cool for me because this will be the first time I hold like a big event in the room, so it'll give me a good run and idea of like
New theme
the
song.
capacity of the room, how the room feels with that many people. I mean, obviously, it's a kind of a cool thing for me that you're gonna be there leading some trainings like in the gym and another peak performance location, so that'll be big. I'm looking forward to doing a little bit of a semi. What is he showing me? A semi a little like small grand opening at that point, just to
Why when I show my
kind of
muscle, you
start it.
said you're talking about a semi? Go ahead. This is going south
Um,
today, man. I'm
and
gonna
then
have to
also
put
with
an
the other,
explicit.
I know. Then also with the other coaches coming and just having all those different, coaches in the room and different athletes in the room, I'm ecstatic about it. And so a couple people asked me, was it about, are we charging? Are we doing something like that? This is about exchange. This is about growth. This is about kind of being in a room with high level athletes and high level coaches that all can come together and have the same vision of like I said, growth and development. I think we got a good group. Like I said, I'm super excited about it. So hopefully it'll be a good week. I got a lot of moving pieces going on that week, and I'll try my best to be a good host. Really looking forward to it though.
Well, no, listen, I'm going back in there. I mean, I always tell people, like, I'm just going to use my personal peak performance model. Listen, I have a grassroots development. I have a What's he pulling up? A grassroots development model. I have a business model, and I have a do the right thing model. And my do the right thing is to try to give back as much as possible. I believe in fulfillment, trying to do because I can, not because I have to. And there's times in certain moments of my
I
life
like
that
that.
I need to do things from a business standpoint, to provide for me and my family, and that I don't think anybody disagrees with that kind of stuff. And then there's times, moments like this, when I can bring people together because, quite honestly, this was my creation, right? And TJ was. We were lucky enough to have his facility opened up at the right time. Everything kind of came together, and this is true. I mean, this is an invitation type of event. It's not open to the public, but it's 100% free. I've had a couple people that I indirectly know from New York, and they said, "Hey, we'd be interested." I'm like, "Who you got? Tell me who." I'm like, "Yeah, I think it's a fit." I had somebody call me yesterday and ask me about somebody else. I said, "Yeah, I don't think it's a good fit." And I was just being honest. I'm like, I want people in the room that I think are going to enjoy and work with people. I mean, it's not a competition. It's not a, you know, measuring stick of I'm better than you. It's literally interaction, and that's the kind of stuff that I want to be involved in. So I think it's going to be great. I mean, like I said, we have you mentioned. I think we have one, two, three. I think we have five different international coaches there. One, two, three, four, maybe six.
Canada too.
That, you know what? I wasn't even thinking about her. She's going to be there for not for the whole time, but she'll be there. So there's
Yeah.
another one. So just a lot of good eyes in the room, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be super, and I know you'll be a great host. I mean, I forgot to tell you, I invited everybody to your house for a
Too easy.
barbecue, and no, just kidding, and a big
Too
poker game.
easy. Poker
Oh,
game for sure. Can you imagine? I
no.
wouldn't have to. I wouldn't have to worry about paying the overhead for my school for like a year if I left that room.
Come
I'd be
on.
good to go for a while. Actually, we should put together a poker game. I might need it.
So going to be
Might need
potato
it.
salad,
Only potato salad. It's
what,
just gonna be poker chips and then a big bowl of potato salad. That's it.
watermelon. Just curious.
Sandia.
You know who?
Padilla. That's an
No,
old
Padilla. What
radio
is
story.
Sandia
Oh,
is
sandia.
watermelon.
that watermelon?
Yeah.
Don't act like you don't know.
I don't know what that is.
Don't-
My Spanish ain't so that's Spanish. I hope I'm not that far off, right?
What
Coach,
happened?
you were speaking. What was the you said? You said it in Spanish, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that word in Spanish. Sorry,
Yeah.
just being honest. I'm not that cultured.
Nah, it's
You
easy.
know.
But yeah, but I think the Grand Prix Challenge is going to be interesting. Like I said, I know we got a couple weeks to build up, but I think there's some. I'm going to go here and say it. There's some random people that maybe might not, maybe shouldn't be there, but it is a Grand Prix Challenge. It is open, so it is what it is. But I think you're going to see. I'm going to predict you're going to see some bad mismatches early on.
For sure.
Bad mismatches. There's going to be some people that are going to go out real quick and maybe not too pretty, And you're also going to have some really, we talked about this, some weird, tough early matches because you're going to have some good athletes that don't have a high ranking right now just because of the reset. And they're going to be fighting some high level athletes that have the, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seed. And that's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Maybe we could
Yeah,
finish
I'll
up.
probably
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Go
Go
ahead.
finish. And I was about to say, hopefully, I'll probably have a few guys at my gym before, kind of like building up and like using the facilities to kind of prepare. So, like I said, I'm super excited. I'm excited about the week. I hope the venue, is up to par. I hope it's like exciting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was looking a little ahead. Don't historically, right? And stop me if I'm wrong. And I'm asking you, Coach. Like when the country gets to the Olympic Games, there's usually more events in Taekwondo in their country, correct? Like an
100%.
actual Grand Prix and like an actual like even a Grand Prix to the point of saying a Grand Prix final and things like that. I
Grand
think
Prix, Grand Prix
when I looked at the
Final.
schedule, yeah, when I looked at the schedule, they put all the events all the way through 2027, and I don't think we have a Grand Prix. Like
You know
other
what?
than this challenge, we don't have a Grand Prix in our country.
And the challenge is really not that big because it's not that many points. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that's a good point. Usually a world championship or whatever going on.
something, right?
I hope that the USA does again historically these Grand Prix. It's really nice. It's they decorate it really nice. They have a good format. It looks really good. I hope that I've never been to this facility, the stadium, so I'm not sure if it can what it's going
It's
to
a
look
convention
like.
center, though.
I
I
have
think
no
it's a
idea.
convention center. I
Well, you
don't
know
know.
what I'm
I gotta
saying?
look.
Like
I think it's a convention
I hope
center.
I hope it looks like a Grand Prix. Like for the finals at night. I hope they have good lighting and I hope they have good, um, a good walkout and stuff like that. I hope, I don't know. I hope it's done well. I mean, it should be. The United States should do things first class. I got to do something real fast. My wife is instructing me to turn on the oven. Give me a break.
Okay.
You're not going to do
No,
it, right?
I hope so too. I hope so too. I don't know. I'm hoping for stadium seating. That's all I'm hoping for. I think step one's got to be stadium seating. I don't know. We got to get the bleachers out, make us higher than everyone else or something. But that kind of gives that effect of like big time like vibe competition for me. You know.
Yeah,
I don't think we can do the guardrails and stand next to it and all that stuff like we're at a open. I think it has to be special. And most like you said historically, and all the most ones in the past have been a little bit designed like that. So I hope the design stays the same.
yeah. Well, they're going to need to have seats that go up, right? I mean, come on. I mean, it's got to be. If you can't have like a I don't know I don't know how to turn my damn oven on. But you can't have seats that are seated like they have it right now, like this, and have people see. They got to have bleacher seating around.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a
At fifty
stab and
dollars
say
a
they're gonna
pop,
have that.
right?
I think they'll
50
have that.
bucks. Yeah.
When is the
Yeah,
event?
yeah.
The
It's
12,
the
13, 14. Is that right?
yeah,
Of
something like
what
that.
of what
Or
month? What
13,
month?
14,
No,
15 or something.
13, yeah, 13, 14, 15, yeah.
What month?
June.
June. It's like
So
3 weeks.
I'm gonna be
You're
in that
supposed to be in
area.
North Carolina at my gym, so
Well, I'll come down because I got to go to the. I'll be in that area. I'm gonna be in
Murphy's,
Murfreesboro,
Murfreesboro.
yeah, Tennessee,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I think that's right next door to North Carolina, isn't
Nah.
it? No,
it's a
it's
little
not.
far.
Is it?
A little far.
Like as
Yeah.
far as a crow flies, or as a like is it? What?
I
How do
don't know.
you
You,
how do
you
you
gotta
keep
just
directions?
just hop your private jet and just get over here.
Dude, there's more. I'm not getting on any jets. There's a plane crash yesterday in San Diego. Have you ever been in a small plane? Like, I mean, not like a commercial jet,
Yeah,
like one of these.
yeah.
Those things are made out of like roof siding. Like those are.
What?
You ever been in? It's basically like an engine with something to cover the engine. Those things are
Young,
not.
you remember Ruben Gallon, right? Ruben Gallon?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ruben Gallon's a good fighter, and he has two
Great
two
fighter.
personal planes. Two personal
He-
planes, and he flew me up to Gainesville one time to see my daughter up there, and we went during a rainstorm. The scariest shit of my life. I was just like
They fly
literally,
sideways. They fly. They
literally.
don't actually.
He's
They
like,
kind of.
he's like, we got to go through this, and I'm like, I'm just watching all the stuff, and then I literally, when we got off, I'm like, I need a drink. Like, I need a
Yeah.
drink. I
Yeah.
need. I was terrified, but on the way home, we flew at night, like a couple days later, and just coming across Florida, pitch black, beautiful lights. It was just like the most calm thing I've ever done. It was just really, really interesting. I can't say I would want to do it again.
Yeah. It's.
Even those
I've been
little
on
jets are
small planes.
scary.
Little jets
Yeah, I've
scare
only
me,
been
but
like the little
the little
commercial
planes.
ones.
You never been on a Cessna?
No, not the tiny ones like that. No, like the 6-seaters and stuff. No.
Yeah. Go
This
to
was a two-seater.
yeah.
Oh,
I was on
actually,
a
I'm
two-seater.
lying. I'm lying. When we went from but when I went to Belize, we flew from the where we were to like the main island where the airport was one of those tiny planes. I think there was like 8 seats on there. It
Yeah.
wasn't the worst, but you can like he said, you can feel everything. You can like almost feel the air coming through the cracks of the siding. Like it ain't like he said, it's not sturdy. It's not sturdy, it's not comfortable. They had one of the guys that was on the plane as a passenger, he was sitting in the seat next to the pilot. Like that's how tight this plane was.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, there's no way.
The
I mean,
one
it
the
seems like
one
a cool
the one
seat, but I don't want to be up there.
yeah, the one I was on had controls on my side too. So it was one of those two-seaters, but it must be
Yeah.
like how they teach them. So there's one here and then
Yeah,
there's like
Same.
another
same.
set of controls
Same.
here. And I
Yep.
was like, at least I felt like I could grab something if it went south and it was
Ruben's like, go ahead, pull up. I'm like, no, just
no,
pull
I'm
up. Like,
good.
no, just do this. I'm like, no,
No.
I am not going to be the reason that I kill
Yeah.
myself.
No. I was in the
Dude,
co-
you
I
flew
was
too
in
far.
I was in the cockpit of a 737 or 747 because my boss was also a pilot for Kuwaiti Airlines. He was the captain. So I'm sitting back in the plane, and the stewardess comes up, this flight attendant. She goes, "Oh, the captain would like to see you." So, oh, okay. So I come up, they open the door. This is pre 9/11. Actually, was it? Yeah, it was pre 9/11. And he pulls me into the cockpit and has me sit in the co-pilot seat, like flying into Dubai. Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm just sitting there trying not to touch anything. But I thought we have one more thing. I'd heard something about an athlete, and like the idea that should we support if an athlete's been identified as a high performance athlete, a podium potential athlete,
Oh, yeah, we said
what level of response or support should we kind of think about? And I think this has been a challenge in the organization for a long time. And there's two types of cultures, right? There's a culture where we, meaning everybody in the organization, is we, and then there's us and them, or us and they. And I think, unfortunately for us in our sport, there's been a historical perspective that the efforts of the NGB makes them us and they, or us and them, even relative to its own developmental pipeline. And what I mean by that is we've identified athletes in the past that we think have potential, medal potential, and they end up going to a program, whether that's at the Olympic Training Center, somewhere else, and all of a sudden they become us. Not we, not the royal we, but us. And then everybody else that doesn't come is treated as they. And
Yeah.
so I wonder about that culture, because the fundamental charter of the Olympic Committee for each NGB is we, not us and they, not this select group of athletes that kiss the ring, drink from the chalice of Pastor Spinks. It's supposed to be we. So that means if I'm identified as an athlete, you provide whatever resources are necessary and that are reasonable to me so that I can make a podium performance for the us, all of we. You don't say to them, do this or else. You become part of them and they. And I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on this, because I certainly have my own thoughts on it.
I mean, okay, I'll go back a little bit. I mean, I go back to like was it pre 2020 Olympic qualifications, you know, when Paige was competing, coach, and like again, an athlete in a good system with a coach that's taken her to the Olympic Games, that's put her on the podium, that has the support, that has the training, that has all this stuff, is kind of pushed to the side a little bit, and they start building another athlete, and the reason was, well, she doesn't want to work with us. So we start pushing another athlete behind to replace this said athlete that isn't advanced. I just don't think you see that. Again, maybe you do. I just from my standpoint, it makes zero sense. You're instead of just fielding and supporting this, we're fighting heads up to the point that we're in heads up matches against each other to make the national team. I mean, for a point race that would potentially get direct qualification for the Olympic Games or not. You have the national team organization using their athlete to fight against them, and it's been like that for a while.
Well, that's not a that's not a we mentality. Yeah.
I think that was interesting, TJ. Now that you bring that up, because I forgot about that. But it's one thing again. It's one thing if you say if this athlete X Page didn't want to be there, she wanted to do her own thing, she was successful, and blah blah blah. For them to say, you know what, okay, we're going to try to build something else because that's what we have to do. We can't just sit around and do nothing. But like when you actively try to build against that person instead of still saying, you confused me for a little bit there, Young. We're still we. We're still we. We're still the United States. We're still trying to build, for the future. But their objective was to stop this person that wasn't with them, to get this person high enough in ranking to force a fight off so that possibly they could do there. There was nothing that they were trying to do for this person over here. It was the exact opposite. They were against it. So I guess to answer your question, Young, is what's the ethical obligation when they've identified somebody? I've identified TJ. I think you're really good, great potential, this and that. We love it. We want you to come over here. And if you come over here, we'll do this, this, and this, and this for you. And TJ says, thank you, but I don't really need, that. I could use this. I don't need the training. I have all that taken care of. I have a support system. Come and look at it. Come and see it. And if it's, suitable to you, then could you help me in these other things? And I think that's the component that's missing. I remember when I was not renewed in my contract in 2012. All right. And, it is what it is. Wasn't renewed, and they hired Coach Patrice Remarque. I wasn't happy, but stuck out my hand, Coach Patrice. TJ, you were there. Did or did not Patrice Remarque come out to our school to watch our trainings and to watch what we were doing?
100%
The
immediately.
dude came out. The dude came out and said, "Let me see." And afterwards, he
Immediately.
said, "This is great. I know what you're doing." He gave me some suggestions, and okay, great. And after that, we had a great relationship. He never doubted what we were doing or were we sitting on our ass doing nothing, playing chess. No, he knew we were busting our ass to make sure that TJ and whoever else that was on the national team at that time could do the best of their ability. So anyway, I know I'm getting off on a tangent on myself, but to answer your
But
question,
again,
I
I
think.
mean, even like you just said, like and again, I'm just using that as an example. When I actually got into the World Class Athletes program, the WCAP program, the director came and saw the training. He
That's
saw what I
cool.
was doing every single day. He talked to you. He saw that the facilities was good. I mean, and they allowed me to stay there and train. And I was being funded by the World Class Athletes program at the time because of the caliber of coach, the caliber of room, the caliber of vision, the understanding of the professionalism going on in the room. But they don't want to see any of that stuff. That's why they never come. That's why this year the Q. So it's like you said, it's the us and they thing. It's always been us and they. And that when it comes to that standpoint.
Well, let
And
me
I
let
think
me
they're
answer
getting
the
a couple
question. If
people.
there's an ethical, here's what the Amateur Sport Act says. Tomorrow, okay, 1 second. This is your boy Lopez. The Amateur Sports Act says. Oh, wait, hold on a second.
Don't let me forget about this because the ethical part of it, because
Yeah, give it
that's
to
what
me.
I'm going to talk
Just give
about.
me Tuesday.
Yeah.
So
But it was the same thing. I mean, I just think
here's the ethical part, right? There's an obligation of the NGB to develop the we, not the they, not the us. Everybody in the pipeline to what degree they have. To the ethical responsibility, if an athlete says, here's what I need, the organization could say, okay, let's see if we can do that because that's in the best interest of of all of us. If an athlete says, on the other hand, you know what? I don't need anything. By the way, I'm not really training. I'll show up at the event and do the best I can. And that's a different one. When an athlete's not participating, not doing his job, not doing his work or her work, that's different. But when you have an athlete who's doing everything humanly possible, has been identified as a podium performer, then you have an obligation. And that's not just an ethical one. You have an actual obligation under the Amateur Sport Act to facilitate, because that's your job. Your job is to put people on the podium. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, um, my question ethically is, if 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 I was offered something, right, and
Hey, athlete.
I an athlete
Uh, right.
that you've been identified, and I've been offered it, and I say, no, thank you, I don't need anything from you. Okay, they say we tried. I can see that.
Yeah.
TJ,
Yeah.
did we or not do that? Remember that in 2012? They tried to tell us to do something. We said, you know what? We don't need
We're
it.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Save your money. We'll stay right here in our little hole. We didn't ask for anything, zero. But that was that time. But let's say I said, you identified me, and I go, thank you. I can't do exactly what you are asking me to do. Can you do something else? Can we have a hybrid? Or because that's what I'm talking about ethically. You've identified me, but because I haven't done exactly what you said, and
Doesn't matter.
I've given you
Yeah. Yeah.
legitimate
You still
reasons
have an
why.
ethical. In other words, and remember, this is all I'm saying. So, in other
Don't
words,
forget one of the
if you
better
say
perform when you're like we're talking about upper echelon athletes who are like one of the higher performing athletes or people that are higher performing in the
yeah,
country. Like they're comparable to the people that are in your current room that are doing it. So that's the
Right.
part of it that you have to like there's a comparison here. There's
Yeah.
there's an easy comparison to make and you see this person having success. Sorry, go ahead.
so what I'm saying is this: if you say to an athlete, so in other words, here's the contract, and these used to be called athlete contracts. I don't know if they have them anymore. They say if
I
you
think
want
they
to be
do.
on, if you're an athlete and you're getting funding, here are the things we expected from you to do the funding, and it should be bare minimum. In other words, if we're going on a foreign trip, you have to show up at the training center a week before to coalesce with the team. Okay, great. You have to do these things. You have to maintain your condition. You have to maintain your weight. Those are all threshold issues, meaning have to do them and if you want to make the team. On the other side, if you're given options, you say, here's what we think would help your performance. And you say, like Patrice did, let me see what you're doing. Instead, you said, okay, oh, this is just as good. Here are some suggestions. Then the athletes met their ethical obligation to train and be the best prepared athlete they can. And the organization has made its attempts to offer what they can offer. Too often what's happening now is you have egotistical coaches that think they are the best and brightest in the world, despite the fact that they've had no performance. And they're telling them, you have to come here. And the reason they're telling them to come there is not because they think it's in their best interest, but they need critical mass. They only have a handful of people there. They want people there that are good, right? So my son, I go back to my son because it's the most recent experience. So he's playing on a very, very good team. Well, an even better team yesterday that's a full live-in academy team wants him and are considering him. Why? Because they want to raise the level of their game. They're like, the more guys we can get like this, the better it makes our players, the better it makes our environment. So now the obligation for my son is, okay, is that in my best interest, where I'm headed, where I'm going? And my son's like, I don't think so. In other words, my training situation is great. I've got my plan moving forward. I've got my thing. Now, would it be better for the other team if more kids like the kids they have and my son and other guys at high levels joined in? Yeah, you'd have the critical mass, or you could develop them, but you can't force them to do it because that's just not the way the world works. Each athlete,
I guess my thing is not even better or worse. It's like when a situation, let's not even go better or worse. Let's go when a situation is working. It's like you see the person is succeeding in the situation that they're currently in. Why is the goal to change their situation and make them adapt to something totally different?
About this.
I don't understand why that's the goal.
But we've talked about this. This hasn't been new. In 1987, before you were born, I fought in a tournament and won, beat Korea in the final.
I was born in 1986, just for math purposes.
There you go. So I came over and I sat on your butt, and that's why you became who you became. So on the plane on the ride home, I was approached by the president of the organization at that time, who had a long talk with me about how I had a God-given talent and I needed to leave my instructor, move to the Olympic Training Center and train under Sang Lee. He said, now you can't tell anybody about this conversation, but this is the only way that you're going to make an Olympic team if you go move to Colorado Springs and train under Coach Sang Lee. I looked at it. The first thing I did when I got off the plane was go tell my instructor. By the way, I had a great training situation. I was training with one of the best people in the world. I was training with the best fighter I've ever known in my life, Sifu Paul Vizio. And I had a better training situation, but I was put upon private in a private conversation. This individual is still around, and I should wait till he dies to tell the story, but he's around, and he was part of the Korean mafia. And that was the thing that was put on me. Now, that came back to bite me in the butt a couple of times over the years, but I ultimately ended up getting to my goal. Now, so that this is not new. This has been happening because at the Olympic Training Center, they had people that went there and they weren't top-level athletes. So they needed more top-level athletes to go because they needed to create a training environment. And there's only two ways to create that. One is create your own, or get others to come and create it for you. So,
but TJ, you bring a good point, and I never thought about it like that. I think it's a very well thought out point. Is why should the goal be to change what you're doing when you're successful? I can understand if you're not. If I just was like, look at this athlete. He's young. He's in an environment that hasn't produced anything. I think there's some potential. I want to put him in this thing, and we can grow him. That's one thing. But when I see this athlete, I'm going, wow, this kid is winning everywhere. This kid seems to be in good shape. He's got good coaching. I see the coach sitting in his chair. He just came to our practice and he did pretty much amazing. Why should the goal be to rip him out of what he's doing and put him there? Should the goal be somewhere in the middle? Maybe it is a hybrid. Maybe it is you know what? Let's let him work with us. Let him continue working with you, and we can develop. I'm not saying that shouldn't be an option, but you're right, TJ. It seems like the goal is to remove an implant over here.
But he just said it. I think like a part of it is a point of like he said, just trying to build the room or whatever. But my problem is, you started with a lot of people, and now we're down to where we are 7, 6, 8 years later. We're still sitting at the same point. And my issue is like, if we're not, let's say the goal was like you said, I just think our product is better. I'm like, our room's better. We're gonna do it all ourselves. We have the staff, we have the understanding, we have everything. We're amazing. And now we're 6, 7 years deep, and you can't call us amazing. That's my point. Like, you can't say we're amazing for sure by any means necessary. By any means of this conversation, we're not close to amazing. But we're not trying different things. We're still doing the same thing, and it's what to hope to have the one that fits. But we're putting people, or like limiting our situation.
The worst thing happened. The worst thing happened. Time. At the beginning, we were all like, they were like, wait and see. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see. Here we are 7 years deep. Now we have history. Now we can go back and say, look at what happened here, 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 here. So if I'm an athlete, I'm a coach, why am I like, yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to change this person. You know what I'm saying? Like, now we have a historical reference to go back and see. Like you said, they had a big room. It's whittled down to what they have. Why?
It goes back to, like, again, what he just said is I have to go there, but like you said, off that, when you got off the plane and that person had a conversation, I had a conversation with you on the plane. If you don't go there, you're limiting your chance of making the Olympic team. You're not gonna be on the Olympic team. You have to be in this room to make the Olympic team, and we've kind of proven that. You know what I mean? We've kind of seen that. You've seen people be in the room and not necessarily for it to go their way and everything like that. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's
TJ,
what do we want?
Turn it off.
He likes to do this to me.
I can't. I don't know if it's to the viewers, but it's loud. I mean, TJ.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Herb, when that was in 19. I think it was in 1986, right? No, 87. 87.
He said
It was
87.
In 1987. So how many years ago? It's 25. It's 30. Almost 50 years. 40 years.
50,
25?
at least 40.
40. 40. Yeah. 40 years. Almost 40 years. 40 years ago, you had that conversation. And TJ, you know for a fact that athletes believe that the only way they can get to the team is to go there, because they've said that. So
For sure.
it's crazy. Here we go. We want to talk about the bad times of certain ethnic group. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like to I don't want to marginalize that and say that, and single anything out like that, because I don't think it's worth doing that. But here we are this many years later, and that's even in the air. That's wrong. That's like, for me, that's like racism right now. You know what? I don't want to give people a pass for racism, but let's just say things were a different way 60 years ago. But in this day and age, you know what racism is for white people, black people, brown people, Asian people. So when people are racist right now, for me, it's even worse than way back then, because people were they were segregated back there. If you're racist right now, screw you, because you should know better. If you're going to do things like that happened 30, 40 years ago in Taekwondo, and you're still doing those same practices now, that's worse, because we should be better. We should have way more opportunities. We should be way more open. We should be way more educated. And the fact is, it doesn't appear that we are. I don't know. Damn.
Well, with that, I think I agree. I think, it's again a topic we're going to have to delve into. You guys ducked the question. I'll give you one last chance to respond to the question of
about the females,
female fighters, the best female fighters.
Shit.
And if you're not willing to, then I will start, but I will still put it out to Mr. DITR, which stands for
This is my nonprofit organization. Is Diamond in the Rough. You see how
I
you
thought it
switch
was
you switch one letter around and you get something amazing. You gotta flow with it. Thank you, Coach. I'll send you guys one. I got shirts for you though.
I figured out when I saw the diamond.
Rough.
I thought it was Diamond in the Rough, but I knew it was. But I was like Johnny Reed Nice one day.
One letter, one opportunity, one
Mr.
situation.
Mr. DITR, because that flows off the tongue so nicely. You're a female fighter. Start one. Don't go. Don't
Off the
hum and
top
haw.
of my head, it's crazy.
Just
I used to
one.
like on finweights. I like that finweights. I'm
One.
the
Just name one.
Alicia Bourne. I'll start with her.
Ooh,
Coach.
she's good.
Coach.
You know what? I'm gonna say, again. I have a lot of respect for a lot of people that Mandy Malone.
Mandy Malone.
Mandy Malone was going to be my first choice. Mandy Malone. I'm going to give you an oldie but a goodie. Kim Dotson.
Kim Dotson. I
Dotson
knew you were gonna
was-
say that. I knew you were gonna
She
say
was
that.
rough.
I knew.
Kim Dotson
She
was
was rough.
rough. From that
Yeah.
generation, I'd go Kim Dotson. I got to give Arlene some love because she was a fighter. Got to give
Yeah.
Arlene some love. Alicia, absolutely. Mandy Malone, though, was the
They made
first
that
woman
division
I
amazing.
saw fight that I didn't want to fight. Like I would have, if I were a woman, I wouldn't want to fight her. She could hit as hard and was willing to fight. Did we miss anybody? Who are we missing?
I mean, said two talented people. I mean, Mandy Malone was a I mean, I said Mandy Malone. Heidi Gilbert was a talented heavyweight
Yep.
when she was young, and
Yep.
I mean, she could do things that no heavyweight could do. And you know what? You got to give Diana Lopez. Diana Lopez can fight, man. That girl she was rough. She could do a lot of things. And again, her era of fighting was interesting. But I mean, I've seen her in practice. You know, and I'm talking about what I know where you guys are going. This well-rounded skills. That's why I picked Mandy because she could do taekwondo. Heidi could do taekwondo. You know, and quite honestly, so could Diana. She could kick with the front leg, back leg, offense, defense, double kick, spin, axe kick. She could do taekwondo. So
That
her
was a
skills
tough.
were
That
very
was
good.
the female team overall. They were tough, man. Like I think that I was watching some old 2012 Olympic trial stuff with the girls. Like I liked it because there was no lopsidedness. Like everybody was competitive back then. There were a lot of good girls
Listen,
and scrappy
I, I,
girls that
I
could
mean,
fight in
and
exchange.
both of you guys
And
know
we had
two
a lot
girls
of
that
good
I had,
people.
good girls that
Oh,
I had that were
Paige.
really
Yeah.
talented. Well,
No,
Paige,
you're talking about Danielle first, right? Danielle Problem.
Danielle and
Daniela,
Alexa.
for
Danielle Holmquist,
sure.
sorry, Holmquist, sorry. Yeah,
She
yeah.
was rough.
Yeah, I watched. I mean, I was watching the fight, and like I'm watching her motion, movement, time, back kick these girls, knock them on the floor. They stand back up. She's going directly to the face. Like it was good taekwondo, solid taekwondo. I mean, we had a crazy field of women in the United States.
Well,
Yeah.
a shout out to all the women, and if we missed anybody, we apologize.
Ah, yeah, but they
Again,
made that
we
amazing.
got a lot of great fighters. I want to thank you all for today, my brothers in arms,
All
and
right.
TJ. I like your hat, and DITR to you, my friend. And we
Diamond in the rough,
are
baby.
out.
Diamond in the rough, baby. Peace.
Peace.